Imagine a family taking a vacation in a national park, and they see this huge mountain. They're just adoring the natural wonders of nature. And all of a sudden the mountain lifts up out of the ground and starts to slowly move to a different place. That'd be pretty shocking. But I'm sure any mother or father there would probably take a second and be like, well, it's no big deal. I've raised kids. There's a lot of truth in that. Because Jesus did many things. Changed water into wine, healed people from incurable illnesses at the time. He did many amazing things. He restored people's ability to rejoin their community, restored their reputation. He calmed storms, many things. So what does he mean in the scriptures when it says that you will do greater works than these? Yesterday, I was at the Bay Center for 12 hours, attending all 3 graduations of the university. Because there were our students, some were like, I'm graduating at 9:30. Others like, I'm at 1:30. Now it's been so long, now they're like, I'm getting my master's, that's at 5:30. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm sitting in the car, probably I think it was after the second one, and just all of the memories of these students came flooding back of the change that they've gone through in the last 4, 5, 6 years to be a witness to those things. And I'm also thinking, I have the 8 o'clock Mass, and I haven't had a chance to work on my homily. But then I went back to thinking about all the college students. And what came to me was those memories of students coming in full of anxiety, full of worry, not know what they're going to do with their life, trying to find meaning and purpose, and to slowly meet with them, many of them one-on-one. Over the last 5 years, I probably spend probably hundreds of hours sitting with students, talking with them, talking about who Jesus is, hopefully showing them who he is through myself, Sister Susan, Katie, our staff, and to see them and kind of pretty much send them out into the world as people who understand more of who they are and who God sees them to be, what God sees in them. And I just thought, man, it has just truly been amazing. And then the inner voice that God usually uses just came to me and spoke in my heart and said, you'll do greater works than these. And I thought, well, that's it. That's the homily. You'll do greater works than these to bring a soul that is confused or doesn't know who Jesus is or is trying to find meaning in life, a soul that is uncatechized or catechized to a level of an elementary school kid, to bring them to a place of mature faith, a place of somebody who prays regularly, who becomes a true disciple. That is the greater work that God speaks of in the gospel. There is nothing greater than bringing an unbeliever or someone who is lukewarm to a place of believing and on fire. There is no greater work than bringing someone who doesn't know Jesus into the depths of his heart and to have them recognize that Jesus is in the very depths of their heart and soul and is with them and walking with them. There is no greater work than for a parent to bring the faith to their child, raise them in the faith, and see them continue their faith. There is no greater work of a parent than raising their child in the faith. That is why the church requires that when a Catholic marries a non-Catholic, the Catholic party has to take an oath to raise their children in the faith. because that is the greatest purpose. And so, yeah, to see a mountain get up and move, or to see a miracle happen, those are good things. Those are things that can lift up our faith. But there is nothing greater than bringing a sinner, someone who is blind to the life of the gospel, and helping them to really prepare their hearts to be molded to the heart of Jesus. If you do that with one person in your life, like the scriptures say, it covers a multitude of sins. So come to confession as much as you want. But if you want a tidal wave to wash away your sins, then bring an unbeliever to belief. And you can't do it on your own. You'll end up in the hospital from exhaustion. You can't. God will bring others in your life to help, and God will also be present in that work. And it's not hard work in the sense that you have to wake up every day and be like, all right, what do I do? Who do I bring to Jesus? What heart do I need to change? No. Just by the very actions that you do, the conversations that you have, it can be a very natural and everyday experience. Sure, I spend hundreds of hours with these students in my office, but I also spend time with them on their sports fields, in Wild Honey. They like that place. In other restaurants, they like to eat. In the upper room, in their dorm rooms when they call to ask for a blessing of their dorm room. When they call to ask for an even greater blessing because their roommates that they don't know, have never met, turns out to be studying witchcraft on their own. It's a true story. And whenever they message and say, hey, pray for me, I'm pretty sick, I don't know what to do, and then nobody answers, so I have to respond, go to the hospital, and then even being with them at times in the hospital because their parents aren't around, and I don't want them to spend time in the hospital by themselves. That can be scary. So just by the everyday actions of how we care for others brings the heart naturally of Jesus Christ to the other person. And so parents, when you're up late at night with your child who's screaming, who's sick, experiencing growing pains, when you're at the grocery store hoping that most of what you eat is in the buy one, get one section, when you're at work all day and you're exhausted and you got to come home, and instead of the kids saying, hello, I love you, good to see you, they're like, what's to eat? That very work, making a meal, gathering a family around the table, that's all those moments that you can bring Jesus into those moments. All those things are greater works than anything that Christ did here on earth.